Damn it. Oh my god. Hold on, guys. 2 seconds. Hold on, let's start again. Yes, I screwed up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Alien Addict, the show where we discuss all things UFOs and aliens and our pursuit into the mysteries on the unexplained. Oh my god, do you know what I've done? Because I need to check if everything's working right. I've got the video of the live stream on YouTube, and I was going, why is it playing twice? That's such an idiot, honestly. Yeah, no intro today, guys, because I couldn't really find on something that was on today's topic, which is all about Die Glocke, the bell, which we're going to get into that a little bit in a bit. But yeah, I hope you're all doing well. Let's just go through chat, see our regulars. Yeah, okay, Rotary. I screwed up on my heart. It's like the most basic thing, isn't it? Of every intros I've done so far, I've managed to screw it up. But how's it going, Rotary? Hope you're all well. John Strokes, how's it going? One True Saxon. I think this one is for you, mate, as it was on popular demand. And she pop up. Hope you're having a good holiday. S Hammer, how's it going, man? What else have we got in chat? Oh, I think it's a new one here. Conundrum, how's it going? Welcome on in. Cora Bell's Cats. Awesome. Right. Yeah, I hope you're all doing well, guys, and I appreciate you being in chat. Honestly, guys, it's you that makes the show. Honestly, I know the views ain't there. I know there's gonna be like a massive drop off, which is quite understandable, but it's you guys here that are keeping this show alive, and I'm really, really enjoying it as well. And I hope you're enjoying it as well. That's the main thing of being entertained and not being one of those debunking channels or skeptic channels, not naming them because it gets a bit repetitive. You know what I mean? So let's bring up min notes because it's going to be one hell of a show today. It's going to be split into two parts because as I was researching into researching into Die Glocke, I started to realize that I had to split into two because the technical details of this device in terms of what actually, okay, we're going to go into what made it fly, but it's like the technical details. It went right over my head. And I was actually quite surprised how much I had to relearn this subject, all the scientific details that comes with it. So that is one of the main topic for tonight. But there's not much on UFO news at the moment. It's barely been anything. I mean, News Nation brought up one video yesterday that, Hidden always says to me, Nick, you just hate News Nation. I says, look, okay. It's entertainment, it's a business. We know what ufology is. We know where it is at the moment. Not bashing it, because I mean, yeah, okay, I do bash it. But at the same time, it's still content for me to talk about, for me to bash in some cases. But they do bring out good stuff. So I would say that News Nation is like the new UFO magazines for today. I'm just gonna be honest with you, because it's reporting the same things that I've got in my collection right here. So yeah, that's out of the way for News Nation. What's on the agenda tonight? Oh, I tell you what, I've got a new video that I'm going to be uploading very, very soon, and it's this here. Well, I've got this one on chat. Nope, that's everyone. So this is my ghost photo I've showed many times before. 2 seconds. I've got a wicked dry mouth. Yeah, go figure. 420. Woo! Yeah, so this is taken in a cemetery in Bristol, of course, where I live, not naming details. Hey, Amy, how's it going, darling? Welcome on. It's good to see you. And yeah, I'll pop in sometime next week. I've got some free schedules on my lunch break, so I can pop in and say hello. I talk some UFOs, be amazing. But yeah, thank you, Amy. And guys, go check out Amy, please, at Good Morning UFO. Fair play for doing it like 5 a.m, which is it's quite dedication. Honestly, I can't even function in that time in the morning, which I still wake up like 5:30, but man, you've got to give me like at least an hour to wake up. But yeah, fair play, Amy. But go check out, guys, Good Morning UFO and my dear friend Amy. So yeah, please do anytime. Oh, honestly, we got us in chat anyway, so just send it anytime, Amy. All right. But yeah, Amy, if you're not into like ghosts, but go check this out. So this is my photograph I've taken in Arnesfell Cemetery. It's a really historic cemetery. It's got thousands of graves everywhere. So this was taken in 2000 and let's bring it up over here. 2009, I think. It's a long time ago. And what you want to do is pay attention here. And the reason why I'm making a new video on this, which I'm going to be uploading to Alien Addict, is that you got this apparition I've caught here. Check this out. I've shown it before. And what we have here, we've got the grave. Well, we've got the grave here. But right here, you've got a full body apparition. Okay, one would say, oh, no, you're just making things up on this one. But no, honestly, from what I remember, guys, I don't know if you can see my cursor, I don't think there was anything behind here. For instance, like this, you got the cross here. There would be like a grave tombstone, more or less here. But nevertheless, it's quite interesting. Oh, yeah, Diane Boss. How's it going, darling? Welcome on in. Nice to see you. Yeah, you've been in. I think I've seen you in Good Morning UFOs chat. Yeah, that's you, Diane. Yeah, welcome in, darling. Welcome on in. So yeah, Diane, if you are interested in ghosts and stuff like this, yeah, check this out. So this is what I've taken a number of years ago. And yeah, I could honestly say it looks like a full body apparition. But what I've mentioned before, guys, if you look at the background, it's very blurry. Hence why the graves stones are more or less blurry. So I'll go back to this location at the same location this Sunday. I'll be uploading again this Sunday as well. And try and find out what this is. It's a full body apparition, and I've caught some wicked orbs as well. Some really like bright glowing orbs. People say, oh yeah, it's just raindrops. Let me show you what a raindrop looks like, because this was taken in the rain. Oh, hold on a minute. That's for later. If you have a little look here, see that little dot. Okay. If you take a picture in the rain, that is a raindrop. Okay. It will actually give off this effect. So people say, oh, that's spirits, but trust me, I've done so much ghost hunting over the years, and you learn through the tricks and the trade. You know, it's a bit like sky watching to a certain degree. You really want to track the skies, and obviously taking videos and analyzing the videos and starting to notice what's really in the sky, for instance, like satellites, stars, constellations, and stuff like that. So, but no, that is a raindrop, unfortunately, guys. But nevertheless, I'm going back Sunday to this location, on this exact spot, and trying to find out what that is there. Yeah, good times when we had all. And it's a really good, like, Victorian cemetery. It's got some wicked history to it. I think I'm missing anybody in chat. I think, oh, Rogue Trooper, how's it going, man? Welcome on in. So today's subject, let's bring up my notes. I always try to compact my notes, but it ends up being like 10 pages long, knowing me and my research. So yeah, on the agenda tonight, so we're going to be talking about Die Glocke, talking about the bell, but I'm going to be talking about, after that, earthquake lights. Remember back in 2010, you had the Huaiti and the I think it was in Japan. It had like 9-point earthquake that happened, but they had these strange lights in the sky, and a lot of people were saying online that it was linked to HARP. So we're going to show some videos on that. We've got some UFO footage as well, and some ghost photos as well we're going to go through. So again, it's going to be a very much mixed bag. But first things first, Flubber Lane, nice to see you. I like awesome photo, by the way. That's awesome. So yeah, welcome on in. So first things first, guys, let's plug the Daily Conspiracy Podcast. So people say, where's Ollie? Was Lee and Dave? Well, get your asses to Spotify, to the Daily Conspiracy Podcast, to go Monday to Friday, every single day, talking about conspiracies, the latest dates on anything strange and unusual. Good fun. Give them a 5-star rating. Also, drop a comment in there as well. And Ollie and Lee and Dave will pop back at some point, guys. Trust me. I was speaking to Ollie today, and he was saying, need to go get back on Alien Addicts. Obviously, I'm going to be obviously the show host for now, but they will pop in now and then to sort of a good catch up. But yeah, go check them out on there, guys. But Lee mentions about someone. Okay, it's this guy, because it's one thing I've noticed with algorithms. I can't not swear, say anything conspiracy theory or anything related to conspiracy theories. Hint, hint, in a minute. And yeah, swearing, conspiracies, and keywords like the trails in the sky, the chem. You can't say that. But this guy here, David, it's just an experiment, guys, just to see if I can beat the algorithm from this one. I started to get a bit dubious in this guy because I do follow him on Twitter, and I've been following him for a very, very long time, since 2007, which I had my awakening, or spiritual awakening, when I started to realize everything I thought was true was actually false, was wrong. So I had to relearn everything that I thought was true. And David Icke was a very big part of my awakening process. And it is for a lot of people out there as well. And I saw David Icke last year in Oxford, and it's in a little conference hall, and it was a really, really good conference. And the energy in the place was absolutely magnificent. It really, really, really was. It was magnificent. However, as I'm started to analyze David Icke's posts on Twitter, he tends to attack a lot on Elon Musk. I'm a bit skeptical of Elon at the moment. I'm a bit 50-50 on the guy, okay? And it's the same with Trump as well. He's on this sort of bitter bandwagon where I understand everything he said in the past has come true to a certain degree. Not everything has come true. Obviously, we're talking about like the one world government. I understand the North American Union, which back in the day was the conspiracy that the fact that they're going to bind America, Mexico, and Canada together. And that back in the day was the North American Union, which Alex Jones talked about that. Yeah, 2009, 10. And now he's sort of promoting it. And I think this is why David Icke is getting really bitter, real arrogant. Like he's got his like 12-foot long dong out, so no, I'm the right guy here. I've been saying this for years, talking about reptilians, when in fact, there's a lot of people talking about reptilians before David Icke, okay? For instance, Jordan Maxwell, that promoted David Icke into America back in the 90s. But yeah, he's all over X at the moment, Rotary. He's constantly posting like several times a day. And I'm just going, why are you so bitter, bruv? Okay, like I understand everyone's got their points of view, and David Icke's point of view. Talking about the words we cannot say. Definitely the words we cannot say. But I'm just finding this guy that I really admired back in the day, and I'm starting to go, hold on a minute, what's going on here, man? People say he's controlled opposition, possibility, but David, I don't know where you're going, bruv, on this one. Again, he makes really, really good points, and he has done, especially like the cashless society, and a lot of things he said back in the 90s, back in the crazy times. Was it that suit that you wore, that colorful suit on the Wogan show? So I'm going to keep again David Icke at a 50-50 stance and say, right, okay, people think he's the all truth, the all seeing, the all knowing. It's like, hold on, it's a bit like an echo chamber. I think with anything when it comes to researching, especially with obviously we're talking about with people as well, but like Lou Elizondo, you have to keep a distance. You have to be really skeptical on anything these people say that come out with any sort of information. It was just the things he was saying back in the day, Amy. I mean, it's been a very slow drip process in terms of where we are back from 2007 to where we are now. And as my process is the awakening side of understanding, okay, everything that I thought was true was actually been wrong. David Icke's conferences were full of conferences online back in the day on YouTube was amazing. And then the things he was saying is like, oh yeah, you can actually make the connections here. But the topics he dealt with were so advanced. I mean, he speaks for 10 hours. I mean, he spoke when I saw him in Oxford last year. It's like 4 hours, like just continuously, blah, 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 wham, 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 like one thing after another. So a lot of things have come true. That makes him more credible. But now the words I cannot say, You know what I mean? Like he talks about all the time, you know, the people that control Trump, you know, who's funding Trump. Yeah, this is where I'm going with this one. Obviously, you can't say it, but it's very hard pushing on that. At the same time, it's just the arrogance of the guy and just it's just become a bit of a dick. That's what I can say, Amy. He's become a bit of a dick, but he's always drawn me in for the past 18 years through. I mean, when everyone says they're going through an awakening process, this process is going to be through, it's not going to be overnight. And it does a lot. I mean, for a lot of people that go through this awakening process, they go through it like 100 miles an hour. They understand the thirst for knowledge, which is great. But is the information you're processing and receiving, is that actually true? Okay. And this is where an awakening process needs to be treated really carefully, because it can send people over the edge. This is why, like the Daily Conspiracy podcast, when I was speaking to Ollie earlier, and I says, is all this conspiracy theory talk really getting into your head now? And he says, well, to be honest with you, no, because you've got a counterbalance between Lee and Dave, which are adding a comedy level to it. So it's a very happy, not too serious. Yeah, they talk about very serious topics in terms of conspiracies, but there's a very light-hearted and laughable manner that comes with a podcast. And I think it balances it out. But for a lot of people that are, for instance, a lot of people in conferences that I met, they're alone, they've been divorced, they don't really have any friends, and the only friends that they have is conspiracy theorists. And what do conspiracy theorists talk about? Bad stuff. Being a conspiracy theorist there's no conspiracy theories that give warmth to the heart, guys. You really are kind of living in an echo chamber. That goes for me as well. But everything is all bad. Everything is expected to be bad, like a bad future. And I think that's a really wrong approach. Do you understand what I'm saying? I think we need to like balance conspiracies with life and everything. And if you look at David Icke, it's just like conspiracies, like bang, 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 bang. It's just, you know what I mean? It gets to the person. So, and I think David Icke's I've obviously been doing it for a long time, and he's saying that the alternative media has now changed. It's been overrun, which obviously me and Amy were talking about Operation Mockingbird. And I do believe obviously the intelligence agency has been put into the alternative community, the alternative media, for instance, you know, the ones that we look at basically, where we get our information from, especially on Twitter. They've been infiltrated and pushing disinformation. So you just don't know. You've got to take things at 50-50 value. And that's me. That's my approach to anything I look into. As my researcher into German flying saucers, I've gone back to the original source. I have looked into the internet, but I really got to go 50-50. See what the mainstream's saying, and then saying what my research is saying, you know, which is completely different to what mainstream is. I'm blabbering on about, but I thought it's quite interesting what Lee was saying about David Icke, and he's more skeptical on what he's been putting forward, which I totally understand. I totally understand. It's interesting times, it's scary times, and I really thought that since Trump has been in the office, things will actually eventually work itself out, but it just seems to be getting more crazier. I always hope for the best. I really do. I mean, all we've got is hope at the moment. I mean, look at England at the moment. It's so fucking depressing. It really is. Anyway, let's move on. Don't talk about that. It'll work itself out. It will work itself out. Let's put my notes. So, Daily Conspiracy Podcast. Go check them out. So, this ain't the first time I've talked about the Bell Project. Because going back, when was this? A year ago. 20th of August. I'm talking about 20th of October 2023. And we talked about Die Glocke with, it was Ollie, me, Matt from Terrestrial Materials, and we had Jeremy Rees from Alien Scientist. We were just loosely talking about the Bell Project itself. But we didn't really go into specific details. We were just talking about like the German scientists involved. I was bringing up my books and everything. Look at my face there. That was demon like. But yeah, go check that out, guys. So that is called I've got to say, the Nazi Bell. Did it exist? And if so, where did it go? We shall talk about where it go or where it went a little bit later. But today's topic, ladies and gentlemen, is the Bell Project. So I'm going to wham bam a lot of information in your face for today. Where am I to? Right, let's bring you up. And let's start this off with this. This is obviously an artist's impression. Okay, so to give a broad perspective of where I'm come from through my 17 years of looking into German flying saucers, okay, I can talk for absolute hours. Yeah, mate, I would say a lot of fear campaign at the moment, more than the weapons of mass destruction back in the day. It's horrendous, mate, but balance that out, bro. You know what I mean? Just take a step back. Try like I want to play some bass and all that, you know, play some music and just switch off, which is I think very, very important. Anyway, back to the bell. So so German flying saucers. Okay, I've been fascinated with this topic since 2007 when I started getting into UFOs quite seriously. And what I noticed over the years of looking into this topic, especially on the internet, you're kind of getting just one side of the story here. You're not really getting, you can't really expand your knowledge in terms of where is this information coming from? Is this reliable information, so to speak? So what I've done for the past 17 years is that I've gone back and bought as much publications on German flying saucers, or not flying saucers. Here's just one of them that's from 1986. I've got another one here. I've got so many publications, and what I've done over the years, I've put a foundation of what these stories come from. Where did it all start? From World War II in Germany to where it is now, and that requires a lot of a lot of time and effort to get everything put together because it's such an advanced subject to go into. But the Bell project has been an advanced device as almost like 0-point energy. 0-point energy, anti-gravity. That is this Bell project here, otherwise known as Die Glocke, is the only device, I believe, that was anti-gravity that the Germans were building in World War II. I'm going to be honest with you right now, and I think I have to be honest, as a true researcher into German flying saucers, I am dismissing Haunebu and Vril flying saucers. These are anti-gravity flying saucers. You know, the Haunebu with a gun turret, you know, all these photographs, I just find they really did came from, guys, and I hate to say it, but it's just the truth on this. It came from neo-Nazi groups that were set up in the 90s who wanted to popularize this conspiracy. I'm sorry, I just have to say it. It just, I've got to say it like it is. You know me, I'm no bullshitter. I like to be honest that I can. I cannot see. Okay, look, the anti-gravity size, the Haunebu. Look, let me show you a photograph. Because people go, what's Haunebu? What's Vril? I'm going to show you what that is. Haunebu. Let's pick a photograph. That's a good one. Right. So a Haunebu, it's this. That's a Haunebu. All right. These were like the typical brim of the hat George Adamski flying saucers. There are documents from testimonies from prisoners of war that are in concentration camps came forward and saying that there is evidence for the Bell. This is what I mean. I'll get to that in a minute, Rotary. In terms of evidence for the Haunebu and Vril, there was a lot of faking going on. Okay, where are these? If the blueprints that are being presented and even these photographs are real, where are the original documents? Where are the original blueprints? Where are the original photographs? And there really is none. I mean, I can't find anything. You know, again, I just think that whole side of Haunebu and Vril flying saucers, and I would have to agree with Joseph P. Farrell on this one, is that it just didn't exist. They would have used it, guys. If they would have perfected this technology in 1939, even the early 40s, why didn't they use it during the war? Well, if they built it was believed 4 to 5 models of the Haunebu during the duration of the Second World War, why didn't they use it? Especially near the end of the war, when you had the Russian front, millions of soldiers, German soldiers, were literally dying of basically being frozen to death in Russia. Why didn't they take these Hannibal flying saucers with these gun turrets and use them? Do you understand what I'm saying? However, there are documents from prisoners of war saying that they saw these flying discs, these flying saucers. And then you say, well, these could have been these flying turbine-driven aircraft, like what I talked about in the last episode, from the Rudolf Schriever, Otto Hobbenmoor, Giuseppe Belluzzo, and Richard Mathey flying discs that were basically fan-propelled. I think probably a lot of prisoners of war saw that. So it's a really tricky one, guys. It's whoever wants to. I give as much information that I can, and then for you to do your own research if you want. I can pinpoint the references, which I will do today, what books I've got the information from. I always provide at least some sort of link, at least a book or two, just to show you where this information comes from. But in terms of evidence of Hannibal, I'm real. I'm dismissing it. That's just my personal opinion. But about the Bell Project, let's bring out the Bell. There is some sort of paper trail, guys. There is some sort of paper trail. Hold on. That's the one there. Let's get that one up. Get that one out. So yeah. So the Bell I think is the only device that the Germans created that was actually anti-gravity. And I do believe this actually flew. Not like the History Channel would say. Okay. So yeah, guys, when I do these like presentations, sometimes I don't keep an eye on chat. So if I don't pay attention, I will get back to you guys. It's just a lot of information to go through today. Right. First of all, let's bring up book of references because to show you where I come from. Okay. So the person that broke the story, which I'll get to in a minute, is this guy here called Igor Rakowski. Written this book called The Truth About the Wunderwaffe, which means the wonder weapon. And these were a series of books that Igor Rakowski came up with in the early 90s. He was aviation and obviously an author who looked into German technology, especially the aircraft of the time. And he gave some sort of lectures, but then he did publish in his books throughout the 90s. Detailing what technology that the Germans were using. And near the end of his book series, he talks about the Bell Project, and he's the one that really broke the story. So if you want a proper, conclusive, detailed analysis into the Bell Project, which I need to do a second part episode on this, okay, go get this book, Igor Rakowski, The Truth About the Wunderwaffe. And there is a section in here, a big section of the Bell Project. Secondly is this book here by Nick Cook called The Hunt for Zero Point. And in this book here, he talks about the Bell Project as well. Obviously, the Henge and Hans Kamler, which we'll get to in a minute, which Nick Cook is another aviation journalist who did a lot of work in the Aurora Project. Remember the Aurora Project, which is like not the TR-3B, it's a bit more like longer stance. It's like the new spy plane that was back in the early 2000s. And he sort of broke the story on that. But he talks about the Bell Project. Trying to get some pictures up here. He talked like the Henge and all that, which we'll talk about in a minute. So Hunt for Zero Point by Nick Cook. Actually, I'd quite like to get him on the show. Secondly, we have Joseph P. Farrell, which is based a lot of information for today on his work, Reich of the Black Sun, Nazi secret weapons, and the old Cold War Allied legend. But most importantly, this book here, The SS Brotherhood of the Bell, the Nazi Incredible Secret Technology by Joseph P. Farrell. And I'm going to show a little bit of one of his lectures back in the day. So this is where I got a lot of my information from. So again, I did look on the internet. I mean, for instance, like Wikipedia. I mean, Wikipedia does have a very basic analogy on this, but not like fine-tuned detail into what we're going to go into today. Yes, don't worry about that. I put in my notes Pennsylvania. It's not Pennsylvania, isn't it? It's Kecksburg in the 60s, which resembles the Die Glocke. But we'll get to that a little bit later. Okay, so again, this is going to be a two-part series on this. One, I'm going to be talking about the Bell, what it looked like, what was inside it, what components that made it fly. And then the second one, I need to look into what really, really made it fly, the scientific details, which mate, I was like, earlier, I was like, I think I need a 420 on this one. I need to like really relax and soak everything in. And I was like, I'm not a flipping scientist. Like, I have no idea what I was like. I couldn't literally explain it. I was just like, do you know what? We'll save it for another episode because I've got a lot to talk about today. Right, let's bring up my notes and bring up the Die Glocke. Not Die Glocke, yeah, it's Die Glocke. The German pronunciations says it a little bit differently. Right, let's do this. Okay. So those are my book of reference, guys. Okay, so go check that out. So remember, first of all, the Igor Bukowski was a Polish aviation journalist and author who broke the story of the Bell Project. Like I said, he's written various books on German technology, and he's, like I said, about the Bell Project, which didn't look like this here. This is just an artist's impression. Okay, we'll show you what he drew this device to be looked like. So the evidence for the Bell Project, this is where it gets quite interesting, because even though we haven't seen the affidavit or the wartime trial, we just sort of have to take Igor Wachowski's word for this. I'm going to explain. Okay, so how the story came out about the Bell Project is that it came from a wartime trial. In other words, basically, there was a I can't remember his name now. What was his name? I haven't got it written down. There was a that's it. Yeah, Jacob Spoenberg. He was a 4-star general of the SS, and he's the only guy for like the source of the Bell Project. And what happened? He was arrested for. He was dealing with people in the concentration camps, but there was another thing that he was on trial for, and that was the murder of 60 scientists. Okay, we're going to get to this in a minute. So when he was arrested, this is Jacob Spoenberg, straight after World War II, he was arrested by the English, then handed over to the Polish. And from here, he was sat down and he wouldn't say anything. Didn't say anything until eventually they said, look, you have to break the silence about something. So then he wrote what's called an affidavit, which is basically he wrote everything down on a piece of paper, basically detailing what he was a part of and what he was saying, that he was part of this very top secret project of creating 0-point energy, anti-gravity, so to speak. I'm not a flipping time machine that people say it is. Okay, so yeah, that is basically where the story came from. So Jacob Spoenberg, arrested straight after World War II. He was brought into Polish custody where he spilled the beans on the Bell Project. And eventually, later on, Igor Wachowski in the 90s written a book about it, exposed it. However, there are some references to the Bell Project, but it doesn't talk about the Bell Project, okay? And this is only recently I started to notice this. Let's take this off. Okay. I'm going to show you something. A very controversial book back in the day. It's this. This is called UFOs, Nazi Secret Weapon. That came out in 1976 by Ernest Zudel. Very controversial person. He had a book publishing company called Samizdat Publishers in Canada, Toronto. Yeah, I can see it there, Samizdat Publishers. Brought up a lot of information about Holocaust denying, what happened to Hitler after the war. So he got banged up after a while when he had his publication company in Canada actually taken down, and I believe he was actually arrested. I don't like the full story of him, but I know he's like really controversial. But in this book, it mentions some interesting testimonies from people that were part of the concentration camp. Because remember, the slave labor all came from concentration camps, and they had millions of slave labor people. Is that especially inmates? It's actually quite disgusting, really, how people were treated. So yeah, that book there, bit controversial, but again, you got to take these stories with like a 50-50 thing, you know what I mean? It's, you know, it's very
Again, very controversial book, and whether or not you take it as true fact is up to you. In this book, it mentions something really interesting. Okay, let's bring up my notes. Okay. So, in one aspect of what happened after the war is that a lot of prisoners of war came over into America and were interviewed by the intelligence agency, which were then the FBI at the time. This is before the CIA, I believe. And what these prisoners of war started to notice is that the fact, John Scott, I don't think I said hello. Don't think I said hello to you, brother. How's it going, mate? Welcome on in. So yeah, about the testimonies of war, you do have flying saucers, like these flying discs that keep on popping up. But there were speculations that the Germans were actually near the end of the war developing an atomic bomb. Okay. And over the years, especially in the last 20 years, that has been exposed as actually being true. But the local villagers around the time, around the area of where the Bell project was tested, okay, they noticed that electrical equipment basically wasn't functioning properly, and even light bulbs were reported to be blown up. Okay, this is near the facility of the Henge project. Reports from concentration camp workers who worked on the project came forward after the fall of the Iron Curtain. This is at the fall of the Iron Curtain. Locals reported seeing a bluish-white illuminating thing. Some sources say a barrel-like device seen floating above the castle at night, making a humming noise. This is before Igor Wachowski. This is back in the 80s, late 70s, 80s. This was reported. And there were reports after the war that the Soviets entered this region and noticed a blackish grey goo that was found in the rubble of the project installation was located. The site was evacuated very quickly towards the end of the war. Obviously, this, I should stress that, take away the anti-gravity flying saucers of the Hannibal Vril, this here was the top secret program that the Germans did not want the Soviets, even the Americans, to get. And we'll talk about where the project most likely went after the war. Okay, so what I just mentioned here are actually some reports of seeing some sort of bluish barrel-like device floating over a castle. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Okay, so let's go back to Igor Wachowski. I've got a picture of Igor. I don't know, where is it too? Which one is that? That one? Is that one? Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. Get rid of that. Fantastic. Right, so here's Igor next to the Henge, and we will talk about the Henge in a minute. Let's bring up my notes. Okay, so Igor, right here, he managed to track down the castle. Remember, I talked about those reports of this barrel-like device floating above this castle. And Igor managed to actually track it down, okay? And this castle in Lower, Silesia. Don't quote me on that one. I'll bring it up in a minute. And this was the headquarters for the project. And I think I've got it on here somewhere. The actual castle itself. It's a beautiful castle. I was Googling it. It's absolutely stunning. Where are you two? Hold on. Let me just go through my bits and pieces here. Oh, I don't think I have it. Okay. Oh, that's gay. Get your shit together, Nick. Yeah, okay. Oh, hold on. Have I got it here? Oh, there it is. What an idiot. Let's bring it up. I had it. Because I'm an idiot. I'm retarded. Here's the castle. Here it is. Look at that. And that's stunning. And this is on the border between Germany and Poland. I cannot pronounce the name of it because, like I said, I'm retarded. So this is called Fürsten Castle. I definitely butched that up, okay? And this is where they concentrate because there was a concentration camp nearby, and this is where people reported seeing this bluish glow, which is next to the facility of where the Bell project was tested near the Henge. And underneath this castle, guys, believe it or not, there were actually underground tunnels that lead to different sites. I mean, this is where Mustachio Man obviously went after the war, because people don't realize that the bunker that Mustachio Man, topped himself, there were actually underground passageways that led to different parts of Germany. Because you think Germany as a whole, right underneath it was practically a whole underground tunnel system that led to different avenues. So to say that Mustachio Man did not get away, Castle Wolfenstein. Is that it? Is that Himmler's castle? Oh, mate, honestly, that's I should have spruced up on the name on that. But again, Igor Wachowski tracked down this to be the place where the concentrate camp inmates saw this bluish white barrel floating above the castle. Okay. Both. Right. This here is called the Henge, which, according to Igor Wachowski and Nick Cook's book, this is where the facility was tested outside. It was tested inside first, and then it was tested outside. And we'll get to what this actually did. Okay. So yeah, Igor Wachowski and Nick Cook caused this the fly trap, but eventually they changed it to the Henge. Now the Henge is located in Poland, is in the middle of nowhere. It's literally in the middle of nowhere, in a place called Ludwigskow. Just take my word for it. I got it written down here. I just can't pronounce it, but it's in Poland. And what needs to be taken into consideration, right, about this structure? Okay. No, what are you doing there? Get out, you're ugly. Right. Okay. So this structure here, right, you've got these concrete columns. And what's underground here, and I didn't bring up a video because I'm an idiot, is that it goes in a circle, okay? And you have these big, thick electrical cabling that goes all underground. You've got like 10 of them all in a row. Saggy Paul, how's it going? Welcome on in. Welcome on in. All the way to Argentina. Spoiler alert. Yeah, pretty much spot on there. I'm Saggy Paul. But these columns here, it was actually producing electricity, like high voltage electricity. And people say, well, where did this electricity come from? Well, believe it or not, about 100 feet away from this, you had a power plant. Okay. So whatever this installation was, as like I said, it was going in a circle underneath, like these big thick cables were literally powering up into these columns. So also as well, this is sitting on a base, like a bath of water. I did see a photograph years ago of, they actually excavated this, the ground level here, and found out there was like this liquid, and you can see this guy swimming in it, and it looked like obviously water. So what it actually did is, this is all going down to Igor Wachowski's speculation that this is where the Bell project was tested when it was tested outside, because it needed electrical power. Let's bring up notes, because I know I've gone off topic here. Yeah, so surrounding the circumference are large ports that were used for high voltage electricity cabling. And most importantly, the Henge had a key aspect to its design. Obviously, it needs power, a lot of it. I believe the amount of power that was pumped into this place was the same power that was the power of Berlin. The whole entirety of Berlin was pumped into this facility. So there's many different names to this project. The name given to this project by the Germans was Project Cronus, otherwise known as Project Time, but the English translation would be Project Saturn. This is where I think the time travel aspect of this, which is absolutely ludicrous, if anybody spends a bit of time, a bit of research into it, and stop listening to the bloody History Channel, you start to you understand what this device actually did. And the History Channel just promotes so much garbage. And this is where this time travel aspect is a load of nonsense, guys. It really is. It's that people, that's no offense to the people that say that is a time travel device. They just haven't really done any sort of research into it. The potential to actually bend space-time to make it lift and levitate, sure, but to actually go back in time and as a time travel device is simply not true. Another name given to this is oh my god, I spelt this wrong here. Lantern bearer. Okay, you know, like lanterns we see in the sky, like Chinese lanterns. So the lanterns bearer project, which you could say, right? I just got this off a whim. The light bearer. What's the light bearer? Lucifer, isn't it? The bringer of light. So you could say the Project Lucifer in one aspect. So the man in charge of this power plant that was next to it was this guy here, Kurt Debus. Do you know who Kurt Debus is? Don't worry, we'll get to the project, guys. We need to understand who was involved with it. Okay, I'm giving you the fine details here. So I'm going to speak a lot slower, calmer. I may have thought 20 beforehand, but anyway, I'm in a good headspace, all right? Because you know me and my screwing up my words. But yeah, this guy here, very interesting. So this is Kurt Debus, and he was in charge of the power plant next to the Bell project. So he would have known about what was going on at this facility. And he was electrical engineer at something called the AEG company. The AEG is the German term for this, is the Allgemeine Elektrizitätsgesellschaft. That is the electrical company in Germany during the Second World War, during the Third Reich. Okay, so that is called the AEG company. It stands for the Allgemeine Elektrizitätsgesellschaft. This is where a lot of equipment and a lot of electricity-based equipment was basically put into Nazi Germany's hands. Okay, there is a department of the SS called Research, Development and Patterns, and this was connected to another SS department called Department Area 4. And Department Area 4 was the mission brief of the department was to develop free energy, or otherwise known as 0-point energy. And this was to make Germany independent of exports of foreign crude oil imports. So during World War II, the Germans were basically going into Europe or anywhere they can actually find oil. And I think at the time of when this was actually developed, and I'll get to that in a minute, this was really early on before the Second World War, the Germans was developing some kind of a new form of way of propulsion systems and energy. Because remember, I talked about Victor Schauberger in 1935, where he built that repulsion device. So you can't say that they didn't make an attempt, which they did. Okay. So, yeah, so this was developed by the Third Reich. So this was, again, trying to get rid of, trying to find oil, because near the end of the war, the Germans were really struggling to find oil. And I believe they're actually making oil out of potatoes, I think, at some point. I think so. Yeah, don't quote me on that one. Don't quote me on that one. Let's have a little look here. Where am I to? So yeah, at the time of as early as 1935, the Germans were more or less dealing with crazy stuff in terms of like new propulsion systems. And again, I'm rolling out anti-gravity, Houndaboo, tachyon drive, you know, that sort of aspect. But anything to do with nuclear energy, thermal nuclear energy, vacuum flux energy, vacuum energy, scalar physics energy, torsion physics, you name it, this guy here, Kurt Debus, would have been in charge of it. Okay. And guess where he went after the war? Hold on. So here we have here, that's Kurt Debus. And do you know who that guy is? Who's that guy there? That, my friend, is Werner von Braun, the V1, V2 rocket expert. These two were high up in the SS. They were German scientists. that worked for the Third Reich, brought over to Operation Paperclip to be part of NASA's space program. I believe it was called NACA before it was called NASA. It was called something else during the 50s. So again, we have Kurt Debus right here and Werner von Braun. We'll get to Kurt Debus and what he really did in a minute. Guys, you see that there? I don't know if you can see that. Got my cursor. Right. You see that? Do you know what that is? That's a dueling scar. Back in the 20s, they will have they had these like secret organizations, right? That these people were a part of back in the early days of the Nazi Party. And to show their true manlyhood or showmanship, they would do these duels with fencing. I couldn't think of the word. It's actually fencing, but they wouldn't have any masks or anything like that. And the deeper the scar, the more of a warrior status you had. And you can see it's a bloody wicked one there. Okay. And this is a true thing. If you type in German fencing 1920, you can understand the whole aspect behind it. It's a very strange thing, a very male dominated, almost like a reward status, like a war status. I don't know the true story of it, but I believe it is around about that sort of crazy knowledge of hero status, for instance. But yeah, that is a massive dueling scar right there. So I thought I'll show you that. Yeah, this man here is called Hans Kammler, who definitely escaped after the war because he was never ever found. And he was the architect who designed the concentration camps and any installation facilities undertaken by the SS. Hans Kammler would have been in charge of it. And this is this guy right here. And he would have been in charge of definitely the henge and what the purpose of the henge was. Interesting where this guy went after the war. Hashtag Saggy Paul. Spoiled it. Argentina, yeah. Is it pretty much given, isn't it? Everyone knows that if you looked into it. So yeah, Hans Kammler was head of all top secret programs for the SS. Very, very high up in Hitler's, I think it's over 7 minutes. Yeah, before 52 minutes in, mate. Over 7 minutes, so I can swear and all that. But yeah, the Hans Kammler himself was very high up in Hitler's hierarchy. He was like the man in charge. And obviously, like I mentioned, he escaped after the Second World War. I know the chat's going crazy, guys. It's a lot to take in with the notes and everything, but I will get to the chat. I am keeping an eye on it, but I do appreciate all your input, guys. I really do. So yeah, Hans Kammler would have known everything that was been going on. And as far as the atom bomb and the Bell Project, he would have known about that. So let's bring up okay, so yeah, the Bell Project device in principle is all about like rotation. We're going to talk about what it basically did in a minute. And the key aspects here, folks, is this guy here. Okay, this guy is called Professor Walter Gerlach. He was a physicist in the early 20th century who won a Nobel Prize for his Stern he had a partner called Stern for his experiments. Okay. And what he was dealing with at the time, he was connected to the Bell Project. This guy here, Walter Gerlach, he worked with physics of systems of spin, charge, metallic moments, and gravitation. Okay. Sorry, I should say that again. I screwed. I spelled that bloody word wrong. Systems of spin, charge, magnetic. Systems of spin, charge, magnetic moments, and gravitation. I think I said that right. Jesus Christ. So yeah, he dealt with rotation. This is the key aspect here, guys, when about the Bell Project. It's all about rotation here. Another fellow who worked is another guy called Dr. Hubus Struckhold. Later became a senior member of the National Advisory Committee on Astronauts, or otherwise NASA, basically back in the day. He was also brought over from Operation Paperclip into America, from Germany into America, or should I say Nuremberg into America to work for NASA to help the astronauts. Struckhold was involved with the device and to basically limit or shield the effects of the device when it was activated, because it gave off like a horrendous background radiation. Kurt Debus, who I mentioned earlier, that guy there, back in the day, believed to work on a device. Basically, I said he was an electrical engineer, but what he really dealt with in his scientific background was high voltage direct electricity current and measurement. Okay, so the Bell project was a direct current. It wasn't an AC current like Nikola Tesla made. It was the I forgot the bloody name now. Is it I'm gonna screw his name. It's Townsend Brown, DC. Is that right? So direct current, basically, that was applied into the Bell project. So this is what this guy dealt with. Okay, so he dealt with very high voltage direct electricity current and measurement. And here he is with Wernher von Braun. So what was the Bell? What was the Bell? Thank you, Discovery Channel, for this wonderful photo. So the device, let's get into the device itself, okay? So the device itself was obviously shaped like a bell. Please ignore the writing underneath this, because there really was no writing on this. I think this is a lot of speculation into this. Rory, it has to be direct current for oh my god, magnetism, like the nail and copper wire, and the battery makes a magnet. Oh, okay, mate, that's cool. That's cool. And that's a word I need to work on. Magnetism. Again, I shouldn't have 420 before the show. So yeah, again, this is a the bell shape. So this device was shaped like a bell. It stands to 12 to 15 foot wide and 19 foot tall. And surrounding the circumference of the bell was a heavy duty cabling. Remember the power plant, okay? This is very, very important, okay? On the side of this device were two counter-rotating drums or barrels, okay? So if you just imagine inside this device, according to Joseph P. Farrell, you had one barrel here and another barrel here that will counter-rotate against each other. So one will travel clockwise and the other will travel counterclockwise, okay? And inside the barrel, you had this liquid that was called serum 525. And there were 2 or 3 ingredients into this liquid, which was mercury, thorium, or barium bilinium oxide. But I believe through my research, I think thorium was mercury and thorium that was implied for the fuel for this device. And the device was cryogenically cooled by liquid nitrogen or oxygen. The device can only be turned on for 2 minutes because it gave off such deadly effects, as it was found out a bit later. So remember, this was tested underground first. It was tested underground first before it was brought outside. They found out there was it gave off a lot of background radiation. Okay. Honestly, with the Geiger counters, when it was tested, it went off the bloody chart. So what they managed to do is to put here we go, magnetism. Is that right, Rory? 5 stars. Oh mate, it's terrible. Bloody, these big words are terrible. And they're like school children could probably even pronounce that word better than I can. But anyway, let's move on. So yeah, what eventually that they did when it was tested underneath the ground facility first, that they put plants, animals into the facility first. No, I should have mentioned first. The people went in first, okay, not knowing what this device actually did when it was in the first prototype stages. The people felt like they had like a tingling sensation, obviously when you get with electricity, you know, when you get like static electricity, when your hair goes up on end, a bit like that, like a tingling needle sensation over the skin. And they said they had the taste of like a metallic taste in their mouth. And eventually these people ended up dying. They had some like a neurological disorder from it. And that is backed up in a document here that I forgot to put on there, out of all bloody things, from Igor Wachowski's book. So there are, again, like I said earlier, there are a paper trail that concludes to this device where it was actually being made and produced and definitely activated. Yeah, this was tested underground first before taking it outside. So inside the facility underground, it was surrounded in these ceramatic bricks. Okay, that gets into the Cuxburg sighting in a bit. So it was surrounded by bricks and had layers of like thick rubber that surrounded the whole facility. And once the device was activated for 2 minutes, then switched off, unfortunately, the concentration camp inmates were the ones to actually take the rubber out of the facility and to be burnt. And that can be testified in testimonies of war in America, especially through FBI documents that I have read. But unfortunately, because I'm an idiot, because I try to compact too much information, I forgot to put it on here. But unfortunately, the inmates did say that. They said when they were actually working for the project, they were the ones to actually take out any heavy materials that were potentially deadly. Okay. And 7 scientists did die in the process of the first test. And the witness, like I said, reported the metallic taste in their mouth. And what this device did, guys, okay, it just levitated. Because remember, this had to be linked up to a power plant, and the amount of electricity being pumped into this device was as much voltage to actually power Berlin, like, as a whole, you know. So the whole aspect of what the History Channel is saying is that it went up in the sky and it was floating all around and doing these fantastic maneuvers is simply not true. Okay. So that's got to be taken into consideration as well. And when the device was activated and when it was levitated, it did produce this bluish white glow. The mercury inside, as the barrels counter rotate, the liquid is spinning and the pumping this with globs of electricity. And this is where the aspect where I need to look into this a bit more. How it fly? What is the scientific details of what made this fly? Okay, yeah, the liquid, the barrels counter rotating, etc. I think I need to do that for the next episode, guys. Okay, because otherwise I'm just going to make myself like a right bloody idiot. I'm pretty sure people in chat, especially Rotary, probably knows a lot about that than I do. Does create magnetism from the circuit in motors for drills, a form of it, but not from muff amps and geared into aid that. I screwed it up. So sorry, Rotary. I see what you're saying, bruv. I see what you're saying. So yeah, this device did produce a very significant sound. Anything to do with electrical high current, you get this like humming sound, like you know, have you heard about that? Especially like electrical transmitters will produce this humming noise. And because the amount of electricity put into this device, the Germans nicknamed this Der Beevenstock, which is the beehive in English. Ever heard like bees, like a cluster of bees in a certain area? I did, because when I was doing gardening, I got stung to bloody bilio with these bloody bees. Luckily enough, I'm not actually. They were like tiny little bees, but the noise it made, it sounded like a flipping helicopter. I couldn't believe it, and I imagine that's what this Bell project actually, the Bell device actually sounded like. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that, because some people get a bit funny. Oh, mate, yeah. But I appreciate when I chat. Everyone's so nice. But let's bring up notes. Where am I to? So yeah, this was called Der Beevenstock, which is otherwise known as the beehive in English. It was taken outside into the henge, this area here. That's a good art impression of it. But before we get into the henge bit, this is Igor Bukowski's impression of what the Bell device actually looked like. Okay, so you had the cable from the top going in, and that would be connected into these barrels underneath. So again, there was no writing underneath it. I mean, why the bloody hell will the Germans put writing underneath it of like numerals and flipping? I don't know. It looked like Egyptian sort of writing. It just really made no sense, unless there was like an esoteric side to it, but there isn't. We know that there is a physics side to this, you know, due to what was actually put into this device. So again, guys, this is what allegedly, according to Igor Wachowski, this is what the Bell project actually looked like. Sorry, the Bell device actually looked like. Where am I to? So yeah, according to Jakob Spoenberg, he was the guy who broke the story back in 1945 after the war. His testimony of the device associated this with magnetic. Oh my God, Nick, it's retard. Magnetic. Oh my fuck's sake. Basically, magnetic. Oh my God, I'm not saying it. I'm moving on. This is just making myself look right twat off at the moment. Honestly, how embarrassing. I hope Ollie ain't watching. So, in other words, this could be known as like torsion physics because you are dealing with rotation here, an extreme high intensity velocity of electricity into the device. So that is just a very basic background, guys, of what the Bell project was. Eventually, when it was brought outside, it was tested into this Henge facility. Obviously, this is not an impression of it, but there are actual links up to the pillars where you had these cables going up. I believe it did go up. So it was producing electricity in the circumference around this device, obviously linked up by chains, so it don't fly off anywhere. Yeah, I know, mate. I do. I do listen. Yeah, I know. So Ollie's the same with me, mate. But at least I own that I can't read to a certain degree, or pronounce words. But yeah, this is basically again an artist's impression of this device in the Henge. So, but again, there's really no photographic evidence of this device, even though it would have been amazing to see. But again, we are dealing with something that is extremely top secret. Chains is a wire, also current. Yeah, of course, isn't it? Yeah. I tell you what, I'll put this on the cards for next week. Okay. Let me or the week after. Okay. I don't want to bore you to death, but I'd rather tell you this. If I can even find a video, I couldn't really find anything in terms of like the technical details of this device. I'll do that for the next episode. But you are dealing with high voltage, mercury-based plasma that somehow, when you've got globs of electricity being pumped into the device, as it counter-rotates, it managed to levitate. The technical detail to that, I have absolutely no idea, but I will get back to you into that. But you make a good point there, Rotary. The chains obviously is a conductor as well, and that can be pumped into the device itself. So they could have had one device and then upscaled it to something a bit better. But yeah, that is the Henge itself. Obviously deserted. Actually, no, it's not deserted now. I think they made it a bit more better, actually. Which kind of looks like, I think that's it now. Yeah. The fact you can go underground, but they've actually blocked off a lot of the facilities. So no one can really go into the true details of what this Henge actually did. Magnetic. Thank you, Master Cylinder. Welcome on in, bruv. Yeah, again, just make myself like a twat waffle. But yeah, I'll break the words up like back in primary school. Literally, my missus, she hears me speak. She goes, honestly, like the way you say words, it's embarrassing. I'm like, yeah, cheers, babe, thank you. But I'll break the words up, mate. Because you remember the scene in Dumb and Dumber when Lloyd and Harry are sat on the bed and they got the newspaper out, and Lloyd is like the. It's like the. That is me. I basically flipping Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, good to be here, man. Thanks for being here, Master Cylinder. Thank you. So yeah, we'll get back to the technical side of the device, but I want to tell you basically who was involved with the power plants, the program itself, and the thing we need to talk about now is where it went after the war. Now, Saggy Paul, I don't know if you're still in chat, darling. I don't know if you're a man or woman, to be honest with you. I'm not too sure. But where did it go after the war? Which brings me to, it's that Bristol accent, dude. Oh, mate, I tell you what, being a Bristolian, you get to pick up on the accent. No one speaks English right. Like, for instance, thing. I say thing. I put like a K at the end, and I noticed that it's not just me; it's other people that say it. It's because I live in the Southwest, which could technically be like the Texan area of America, like where Bristolians are. It's just we just don't pronounce words properly. We don't. We sound like farmers. pirates. You know what I mean, mate? You know, we're proper cider drinkers here, you know. So so my accent, people think in America think that British people were like, oh, we speak very posh like that. Very posh, you see. No. You'd be surprised how many different accents you go as you go north, east, southwest. Is actually quite compelling, really. But yeah, that is my accent, bruv. That is my accent, especially when I 420 a bit. Love the accent. Oh, thank you. Where are you from, bruv? You're from America? Because a lot of people say, I think Diane Boss says she likes my accent. I can't stand it, to be honest with you. I'd rather sound like a posh twat, to be honest. Right, let's bring up Joseph P. Farrell, because he's going to tell you where the Bell Project went after the war. Where are you to? Where are you, Joseph? Ah, there you are. Okay. Right. Anyone who's looked into where the Germans went, obviously Argentina, right? I remember Hans Kammler, who was the head of the top secret programs for the SS. He went missing after the war, never to be seen. Still to this day, never to be seen. Obviously, there's speculated rumors that he went into America, but he most likely went into Argentina because there were a lot of U-boats that went missing. I think it was over 100 U-boats that went missing after the Second World War that had, I believe, that had Mustachio Man, also talking about Hitler himself. I think they went into Argentina. I think they went to Bariloche, which is a place in Argentina where Hitler's hideout was. And I think that's where a lot of, actually, we know that because if you go into Argentina, right up into the hills, there's a whole German colony there of all these SS officers, you know, high people in the SS that escaped the Second World War in Germany, went into Argentina and started like a new colony there, like a new civilization. And they're still there to this day. Obviously, a lot of American scientists went into the war. America 22 scientists joined us or go to prison for the war crimes. Von Braun. Yeah, they had no choice. They really did. I think the Russians or the Soviets didn't treat them as well as say, well, you come work for us. Gave them less rights, so to speak. But I know that the Americans gave the Germans pretty much a free range, new passports, new visas. And I think with Werner von Braun in his documents, they put like not a Nazi or something like that. It's like the guy literally built the rocket that blew the crap out of this country. You know, literally. I mean, where I live in Bristol, we were like the second heaviest bombed during the Blitz. I mean, my nan, she's still alive. She was alive then when the bombs were going off. I mean, I want to do an interview with her because I know she's getting on, but she's like the last surviving people of the Blitz. She was young at the age of, I think she's like 5 or 6 when the bombs were going off, and she clearly remembered that. And you think, God, the scientists that was in charge of that went into NASA to be the head of NASA and to work for the company. It's kind of disgusting, isn't it, when you look at it? But you're right, Rory. They didn't really have a choice. I think they were treated better in America. I think that's why they pissed off over there. And a lot of them went into the intelligence agency as well. I knew a girl in Argentina. Her last name was Newman. I never discussed the war. Haha. Yeah, you kind of tell what Sagipur, like what Germans look like. I don't like stereotyping, but you could kind of tell they just got like a bit of a look. No offense to anyone that's in German. I'm sure you're lovely people, but man, you did some bad shit back in the day. Own it. You got to own it. I'm sorry. Same to England. Hundreds of years ago, we did some bad shit as well. So, yeah, Argentina. I think that's where a lot of escapees definitely went. Isn't it called Operation? Called Paperclip. Operation Paperclip. What did I say? Did I say something different? Does it say Blue Book or something like that? I always get mixed up with that. But yeah, Operation Paperclip or Operation, I believe the other code name for it was Operation Crossbow before Operation Paperclip. So who knows, man? Who's that really hot author? Well, she's got a really hot porn star speaking voice. Annie Jacobson. She written a book on Operation Paperclip, who was originally brought up by someone called Linda Hunt back in the 1980s, who brought up all the documents that was released to her back in the day. And it's quite harrowing the amount of scientists that were involved with concentration camps and the death. Thousands of people, especially inmates in the concentration camps, went into America. It's actually quite disgusting, really, when you look at it. So anyway, let's go back to Joseph P. Farrell. Just a quick excerpt. That is Martin Bormann, who was the head of the Nazi Party. He also went missing after war, never to be seen again. And this is, I'm just going to play about 5 minutes of this, okay, from Joseph P. Farrell, who written this book called The SS Brotherhood of the Bell, and various books. Very intelligent guy. He's an Oxford professor in theosophy and amongst other stuff. So very, very intelligent guy. If he's a professor in Oxford, then it says something. And he's very anti-woke as well. So that just goes to show. So let's listen to what he says, where the Bell Project actually went.
In other words, what I'm telling you is by more or less dividing the spoils equally, he is ensuring that after the war there's going to be a stalemate. The question is why? Well, one of the things that Martin Bormann does is that he is the one that ordered Sporenberg to execute those 60 scientists involved with the Bell. And the ones that are too famous, of course, like Gerlach, he ensures never open their mouth about any of those subjects that before the war they were interested in, after the war they never returned to. Now, why do I mention all that? Well, because at the end of the war, if you look down here to the third point, he assigns a special unit of the Luftwaffe called Kampfgeschwader 200 to SS General Hans Kammler. Kampfgeschwader 200 was the Luftwaffe unit that had control over all of Nazi Germany's long-range, ultra-heavy lift aircraft, including this. This is a 6-engine, as you can see, it's just a gargantuan aircraft. This is a 6-engine Junkers 390. And Kampfgeschwader 200 had control of the last Junkers 390. Incidentally, it had control of the Junkers 290, which was the 4-engine smaller version of this thing.
Don't worry, he'll get to it, don't worry.
Both types of aircraft, incidentally, were developed by the Junkers firm to be, get this, refueled in midair. Now, here's the important thing about this photo. This photo was taken in April of 1945 outside of Prague, Czechoslovakia, which is 30 miles east of Kammler's headquarters. It's being refueled and made ready for a long flight. The Junkers 390
Yeah, will do, mate. Will do.
Was capable of flying non-stop from Germany to Argentina. That means that I think that Kammler, contrary to Nick Cook, contrary to my friend Igor Vitkovsky, I think Kammler and the project documentation for this device didn't come here to this country. They went to Argentina.
Boom.
And I'm now going to show you why. Woo. In 1951, Juan Perón stunned the world, literally, when he held a press conference in Buenos Aires, and 9 months before we have detonated our first hydrogen bomb, he announces to the world that Argentina has discovered the secret of the hydrogen bomb. Now, needless to say, the world press had a field day of laughter and derision. Impossible. At the press conference, however, Perón introduced this man, whose name is Dr. Ronald Richter, who proceeded to tell the assembled press in something less than an Argentine-Spanish accent that, yeah,
take it easy, mate.
Thanks, he had indeed learned how to control certain aspects.
And I've put the link to the description of this presentation in the description to go check it out. But yeah, thanks, the Master Cylinder, for being on in. And yeah, I'll catch you soon, bruv. And yeah, you're from America, man. And yeah, hope you're all well over there and you're doing a lot better than England, put it that way. But thanks for coming in, bruv. I'll see you soon or next time. All the best.
Aspects of thermonuclear reactions. Isn't that interesting? But so vociferous was the world press's reaction against this man and his claims that Perón began to smell something wrong. Now, the good old Generalissimo certainly wasn't a scientist, but he was certainly politically savvy. So he appointed a commission of Argentine nuclear scientists to go down to where his super secret fusion project, being headed up by this ex-Nazi scientist, was headquartered. Incidentally, it was a project located 900 miles southwest of Buenos Aires in Rio Negro province of Argentina, on an island about 6 miles away from San Carlos de Bariloche, which is sort of the main city.
Okay. So yeah, Bariloche is where Hitler was hiding out and all that. But I'm going to leave it there, guys, okay? So I have put this in the description so you can go check that out for yourself. I mean, Joseph P. Farrell is an extremely fascinating guy. I got a lot of his books on the subject, and what he's technically done, he's looked at the Bell project and the device itself and sort of broke it down and to understand how this device actually worked. And yet, like I said, he's done extensive detail into that. And if you want more information on that, go check this out, the SS Brotherhood of the Bell. And that's my next step, is to actually go into fine details into this. So again, I can go into like really fine details, but I'm going to be here for like hours and hours, and I don't want to bore you. You know what I mean? It kind of gets a bit tedious after a while when you're doing like a 4-hour podcast on one little bit. You know what I mean? So this is just like some bullet points that were part of the Bell project, and by all means, do your own research into this as well. Just be careful where you get your information from. But if you want the truth about this device, Igor Bukowski, Nick Cook, and like I said, Joseph P. Farrell, which is the guy I just showed you in the presentation here. Yeah, it's deep, mate. It's deep, especially the technical side of it. I need to get my head around that. And you know me, I'm fully retarded. I'll definitely admit to that. It's fine. We're Trump's America. Don't get offended when someone says retard. Okay. Right. Let's move on from the Bell project, and we'll catch it up for next week. Okay. Let's have a little look. Oh, you've got to talk about Bell project a little bit more, because there was something else that popped up in chat. Okay. Die Glocke did Hitler. Right. I'll bring this up because this is interesting. Because back in 1960s, something was flying about, right? He was going, what the bloody hell is this in the sky? And it was this acorn thing. Hold on. No, I got wrong one up. 2 seconds. There we go. Right. So yeah, this acorn device was seen in the sky by a number of people in Cucksburg, which was called the Cucksburg incident. That was in Pennsylvania. Yes, I was right. I thought it was Pennsylvania. Yes, I was right. In December of 1965. Let's just read this here. So some UFO conspiracy theories believe that the US forces captured the Nazi scientist. And even Kamla himself, remember Kamla? Talked about going to Argentina. And put them to work on developing Die Glocke anti-gravity technology. As the legend goes, this collimated, oh fucking hell, in the so-called Cucksburg incident, when the bell-shaped UFO allegedly crashed outside Cucksburg, Pennsylvania in December 1965. Does anyone of this check out? Extraordinary, unlikely. Well, I'm not sure, because if you look at like the witnesses into this, incident that I actually haven't had a look at. Let's do it now. Tell you what. As we got the power of the internet on my hands, let's grab that. Oh, clicked on that. Oh, that's brilliant. Okay. We'll do that instead then. We'll go to Wikipedia. It brought me straight up to Wikipedia, which I don't normally do. But as I just want to learn about this incident. So the Cuxburg UFO incident occurred on December the 9th, 1965 at Cuxburg, Pennsylvania, United States, when a fireball was reported by civilians and 6 US states and Canada over Detroit, Michigan, and Wistow, Ontario. Astronomers said it was likely to have been a meteor burning up into the atmosphere and disintegrated at a steep angle. NASA released a statement in 2005 reporting that the experts had examined fragments from the area and determined they were from Soviet satellite, but the records of their findings were lost in 1987. NASA reported court orders on and Freedom of Information Act requests to search for the records. The incident gained wide notability in popular culture and ufology. Certainly has, with speculations ringing from extraterrestrials craft to debris from the Soviet space probe Cosmo 96, and is often called Pennsylvania's Roswell. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go like that. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to pull it in for my notes for next week. I quite like to learn about this, and we could do a follow-up because I don't really know the full details. I know the people were seeing some sort of craft in the sky that looked like an acorn, doesn't it? And what you could say looked like a bell. It looks like a bloody turd, isn't it? But I do believe from my I remember back in the day, the reports were saying that the military were there to pick this craft up, and someone saw that it looked like either an acorn or a barrel, like the Die Glocke, and I think that's where the connections comes between the two. Also, Nick, start chucking into Grok 3 on X for more information. May, I'm going to be honest with you, I've been doing a lot of that recently. The show that I did with Hidden, right? Spoiler warning, right? The show I did on Hidden on Wednesday, I used a lot of Grok 3 on that. And I would have to admit, it did bloody wonders because I literally said to Grok, okay, tell me about what we were talking about. Oh, bloody hell. What were we talking about? Stargate, the Iraqi Stargate. And it gave me a load of information. And I said, send me a load of links. And they produced a load of links. And it bloody did. I couldn't believe it. So it did a lot of information for me. But whether or not it's actually accurate or not, I tell you what, one day we'll do a German flying saucer. Not claiming to be an expert. Well, I do know my stuff, the foundation of the conspiracy. I'll be interested to see what Grok 3 actually says about that. And we'll get back to that on next episode. I'll tell you what, I'm going to write this down for my notes for next week. Grok 3 German flying saucers. Okay, cool. Right, we'll do that for next week. So yeah, we'll get back to the Pennsylvania UFO incident. It's nuts. You can tell it's what to do in space. I'm going to read that again. It's nuts. You can tell it what to do. Space it. Define it is nuts. Yeah, it's. I mean, I have to admit, I used it for the thumbnails. This one I did. The current thumbnail that I used wasn't. Oh, it's just what I took off the internet. But I have to admit, it has improved quite a lot. It has improved. I think more than ChatGPT. I'm going to be honest with you. Is a lot of people say ChatGPT is probably a bit old. Whether or not they actually update it, but the Grok 3 is obviously the new one. So I asked for a good TV series to watch. All right, okay. I'll tell you what's a good TV series to watch. I'm watching at the moment. I know it's an old one. It's Hannibal. That's I find out. I mean, that came out like 2013, as a number of years ago. But I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, if you've got any good ideas, guys, for like TV shows, because I mean, the missus, we're trying to find something on Netflix, and because we don't have BBC, because we cancelled our BBC license. And guess what they did? Guess what they did? They gave us a £50 check. Thanks, BBC. I was like, oh, I'll have that, thank you. But no, BBC, there's a few things that's banned in my household. One, the official story of 9/11, and that goes for the controlled demolition. Secondly, it's Metallica. I fucking can't stand Metallica. Okay. And secondly, it's the other thing I just said, which was what did I say? What else was banned in my household? Yeah, well, those two things is definitely banned in my household. I can. The thing is, back in the day in music college, people said I sound like Lars from Metallica, and honestly, I don't. I do not sound nothing like Lars at all. And when you say that to a drummer, you're actually taking the piss. Yes, BBC. Thank you, John. See, bloody goes. Yeah, BBC banned from my place. But yeah, when I was a drummer back in college, people say, "Oh, you must have taken inspiration from Lars." I'm like, no. I never liked Metallica, and he's known to be a notoriously shit drummer. Notoriously shit drummer. So when you're saying, "Oh, you sound like Lars from Metallica," you're basically telling a drummer he's shit. Not a good sign. Actually, if you want to listen to me, do you want to listen to my band? My old band back in the day. We sound professional to a certain degree. Hold on. We were yeah, we're moving on for the henge, and we're gonna move on a bit of some paranormal and ghost stuff, but I'm gonna show you. I haven't listened to this in ages. Okay. My God. Oh, dear. I haven't listened to this in a long time. So this was my band back in the day called Bone Mud. This is like 2009, 10. We were if you like Limp Bizkit, Rage Against the Machine, that sort of music, we've blended a lot of stuff together. However, we were like 20 years too late. If we were back in like the early 2000s when Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, and all that came out, I reckon we would have been huge. But I'm just going to play just a little bit of it. You get to see me play drums now. Yes, that's me. One, two, three, go! Oh my God, what are we doing? Okay, that'll do. That's it. So, so that is my band back in the day, called Bone Mud. Scott, if you're listening, mate, right here, buddy, right here. I wish I had the fucking guts to tell you that, but anyway, yeah, that is that prick right there, lead singer. So let's move away from that. If you want to listen to my band, let's put it in. I'll put it in chat for you. God, it's like terrible music. All right, let's put it here. Bone Mud. So Bone Mud is just the... I don't know what fucking Bone Mud stands for, to be honest with you. Shit name for a band. Go check that out. I'll just put that in there. So if you want to have a little listen to me or band back in the day, it's not everyone's cup of tea, which is totally understandable. But do I miss it? Fuck no, not at all. Right, let's move on to what we got here. That's done. That's done. Where did the bellhop go after the war? Pennsylvania, world's scariest ghost. Ooh, yes. What should we do? What should we do? Well, oh, I'll tell you what. Let's move on to earthquakes and strange lights. So I was thinking about this the other day, as like old conspiracy theories go. This is an old clip. Might bring back some memories. So this was happening 10 minutes before the earthquake in China in 2008. Excuse me. And it happened again in Haiti in 2010, I think it was. And this is 2008. Now, these strange lights, I'm going to play here, is a relatively new phenomena. And I thought, well, what's the explanation for this? And to be honest with you, the scientists don't really know what makes this colored lights appear in the sky. They have absolutely no idea. And it makes me think, okay, the conspiracy theories back in the day of what could actually produce this crazy lights in the sky was obviously HARP. Do you remember that back in the day? Everyone was saying, "Oh no, the earthquakes were part of HARP," and I can't remember. I think the Kuwaiti prime minister came forward and blamed America for the HARP being part of the earthquake. Oh yes, I do have it. Fantastic. Okay, I've got another one there. So let's play another one. Yeah, that was in Shanghai, China. It's a big earthquake as well. And back in the day, people were saying about HARP. Every time we get ripples in the sky, in the clouds, sorry, hurricanes, earthquakes, anything weather anomaly that can't be explained is always blamed on HARP. Now, I'm not denying that HARP can actually potentially control the weather, even control your human mind as well, because the patterns are actually out there. Bernie, what's his name? Bernie Eastland or something like that, who created the HARP project, got his patterns from Tesla. So to say that they can't produce like an aurora effect in the sky, because that's what HARP is doing. You can actually create artificial aurora, which I think they did worldwide not long ago when the skies turned like blood red. So I was looking for an explanation of this. So if I just went with the theory that this was done by HARP and the earthquakes were done on purpose, what backtrack record can we go by? What can we say that actually produced these? I mean, for instance, like with HARP, how do you know if HARP is actually going to be inactive at that time? Well, believe it or not, I found a very old video 14 years ago. Now, remember, guys, these videos, and even my mum would say this because she's on the same path as me, same wavelength as me when it comes to finding old school, I would say, back in the day that like 15, 16 years ago, that are videos that are hidden in the YouTube archive. And this is one of them. I had to really deep dive into this because I remember seeing this as I was in music college at the time. So this is HARP activity during massive tsunami earthquake in Japan of March of 2011. Okay, so we're moving on from Shanghai. But also there were lights seeing here as well. I'm just going to show you this very quick video. So this is HARP activity before and while the tsunami earthquake in Japan on the 11th of was that 11th of? I don't know if that's American or English. So it was at that time there. HARP started operating at March the 9th, the days before it was in almost dull activity. And I remember there was a website you can actually track HARP activity, but now they're actually taking it down. Oh, this brings back memories. So you can see, you can actually track what actually did at that time. So again, this is just all speculation here. You don't know whether or not the HARP facility actually was part of the earthquake, but it's just fun to speculate, isn't it? But yeah, people did die in the tsunami, which is pretty bad. But yeah, what do you guys think? Obviously, I can honestly say that the HARP facility could produce an earthquake, tsunamis, but I'm not a scientist. Crypto alchemist. Oh, bloody hell. I think I screwed your name up, but thanks for being here, bruv. I do appreciate you being on here. Yeah, I'm just going to call you Crypto. Thanks for being here, bruv. So, yeah, I'm not too sure, guys, with this, with the harp and everything. I'm not denying it could produce these earthquakes. But with the lights in the sky, I was like, what could it possibly be? So let's bring up a website that allegedly proves what this could be. Because I haven't seen this phenomena of lights in the sky since. So the phenomena of earthquake lights, because it's new. Why is it all of a sudden? It didn't happen years ago, and it just happened around about that time period. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't really make sense. So this is there is apparently a phenomena that happens right before or perhaps during an earthquake that is very similar to the auroras in the northern and southern hemisphere. The phenomena somewhat regard as make-believe until recent history. This refers to as earthquake lights, apparently right before and during the earthquake, or perhaps more accordantly placed of tectonic stress, activity of volcanic eruptions, aurora, luminous activities in the sky has been reported over the world. Yeah, we know that because I saw it myself. There's different speculations of what it can actually be caused by, but again, why didn't it happen years ago? I can't find any backtrack record of this anywhere. And I tell you what, another thing that I've noticed, as me being a frequent sky watcher, is this full streak. Okay, back in 2010, I remember seeing. Hold on, let's bring up some images. Full streak. Okay, so I've got a load of books on cloud formations, right? I mean, tons are like going back to the 1910s to where we are now, basically. And none of them show this hole in the sky. Okay. This is only a relatively new phenomena. Now I'm going, why has not this been seen years ago? For me, as being a conspiracy theorist or conspiracy theorist mind, this just makes no sense. Why did it suddenly just appear when there's no backtrack record of it? Okay, full streak, yeah, sure, you can trace at least some of it back, but like stuff like this, like the big hole in the sky, that was it back in like 2010. People going, what the bloody hell is this? So people say it's to do with HARP. Another explanation is that an aircraft is flying, is actually dropping altitude, actually cutting through the cloud and then moving away underneath this cloud here, and this is why it's creating this whole effect. Again, but there's like several explanations for it. No one has a concrete explanation is for it. I've seen this in real time. If you go back to my Rumble channel, if you go to Rumble. Let's go to 2 seconds, guys. So I remember seeing this in the sky. 4 streaks there? No. Streak. Nope, nothing. Okay, no, forget about it then. Okay, so yeah, I did a video that I uploaded to my Rumble channel. And I saw this 4 streak happen in real time. And I did not see any aircraft in that facility whatsoever. So could be HARP. I don't know. I think personally, I mean, even with frequency waves, yeah, sure. I mean, I think there's one way they could potentially control us, yeah, through HARP if you're pushing out a frequency. I mean, I think more or less 5G or 6G can actually do that now, as is it more or less in a more scattered area. But I think for HARP, it's a more powerful frequency. It's hard to tell. I would love to track these facilities because it's not just HARP, the one in Alaska. We've got one here in England that's in Wales. I think we've got a couple of them as well. They're literally scattered all over the world. these like potentially earth-changing, you know, weapons of war, isn't it? When you look at it, it's absolutely terrifying. So frequency waves is definitely on the cards there, mate. Is it changing the frequencies of the human population? Because I've been saying this for a while now, that I feel like something's changed. The frequency has changed somehow. I think people are more on edge, more stressed. I mean, yeah, you can blame it on economic politics. It's just the way things are at the moment, where things are just shit, really. Where especially in England, so that could be taken into consideration. People are more on edge, more stressed out due to the current situation. But I'm not ruling out that the fact that frequencies can potentially put images in your mind, change your well-being, and make you do stuff. I mean, look at MK Ultra, which I'd love to do an episode with Hidden for the next show. I think we want to sort of deep dive into the MK Ultra. Voices in the skull, yes, they can do that as well. I remember back years ago, the BBC did a news report. I think it was either Horizon or something like that, and it showed a news reporter or presenter, what you want to call it. He sat down in a chair and he's got all these like implants in his not going to the skull. It's like it had this like, it was basically monitoring his brain, but they're actually pushing in frequencies, and they can actually project images into your head just by a frequency. And you're saying you close his eyes, you can see a dog, you see a cat, you can see a spaceship, and it's like they can do that. This is back in like early 80s. So this technology has been more advanced now. It's a bit like the trails we see in the sky. It's there to block out the sun. Personally, I don't think so. I think it's there for a whole different meaning. When you got Bill Gates, I shouldn't maybe say his name, got to say it anyway, saying we need to block out the sun for your benefit, I'm going, no, you're doing something different, mate. I'm sorry. Believe the exact opposite of what they're doing. I'm not denying chems. I'm not denying that at all. It's just, I think there's a whole different purpose for it. I think the technology has changed so much now, and I think HARP is more or less changed. I'm not saying that it's not still using it. I just think as technology is advancing, I think the aspect of technology is just, I think it's far advanced now with 2025 compared to like 10 years ago. Again, speculation, but the backtrack record of what I've seen, this technology has obviously been used, and they have this technology. So Eric Hecker goes deep into the voices to the skull technology. All right, mate. I'll tell you what, let me write that down. I'd love to Eric Hecker, did not sounds familiar actually, mate. I remember seeing some various experiments literally putting voices into people's heads. There was one video I think I got on my Cosmic Twilight channel that shows Rick Clay, that I've talked to death on this show, that the fact they can literally project voices into people's heads. And there was an incident back in New York in 2010. There were people walking down the street in New York, and they kept on hearing this voice in their head, and they're going, "What the bloody hell was that?" Like a voice saying, "Don't." It was voices saying, "Don't trust what you believe." You know, not everything as it seems. Something like that. Just sort of paraphrasing here, and then eventually, if you looked up on top of this building, there was this black box that was shooting ultrasonics down to this certain spot in the street. So as you hit that spot, you had this voice put into your head, and it was an advertisement for Paranormal State, a TV show, a new TV show that was being brought out in America. And I believe the company that did that is called, let's bring it up. I think it's called Blue Blast Media, and they just have one page. Tab, bring this up. Blue Blast Media. This is going back a long time ago. Blue Blast Media, where is that? It was literally just one page. No, I don't think I'll find it. No, I don't think it's here. Yeah, I think the company was called Blue Blast Media, and that was it. It just had one page, didn't go into any specific details as such, but they can literally shoot ultrasonics down into one location and put literally images into your head. And also Nick Alien Addict, Cryo is also Alien Scientist show, Jeremy Reese. Oh, right. Okay. Cool. Eric Heckler, Argentina whistleblower, sent a year at South Pole. I've had the same pleasure of interviewing him 4 times so far. Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. I'll go check that out, bruv. I'll go check that out. It's the idea of projecting images into people's heads. I find it absolutely fascinating, especially through frequencies and various technologies. But whether or not they're actually doing it now, I think they are. And it makes me think what these phones can actually do. I'm just sorry, just write this down for next week's show. Oh yeah, Alien Scientist is my brother and partner in podcasting crimes. Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, Jeremy Reese. I've spoken to him a couple of times. Yeah, very knowledgeable. He was on. No, he was at a conference and he was talking to Lou Elizondo, sort of drilling him to a certain degree. But that's awesome, man. Yeah, thanks for being here, brother. Crypto, I do appreciate it, bro. Yeah, thank you. And yeah, any information, guys, yeah, bring it up because we're here sharing information. We're all on the same wavelength, and we're here to sort of help each other out. You know what I mean, with different information and stuff like that. So Eric Hecker, I'll definitely he rings a bell. Actually, rings a bell. What Eric said about the fire wardens having access to all the areas is basically true. Sweet, man. I'm looking forward to that. I'll definitely go check that out. Right. Okay. So we've done earthquake clouds, projecting images into people's heads. They can definitely do that. What else we got here? How long we got there? Oh, we're coming up to nearly 2 hours. I said it only go an hour and a half. You know me, my rumbling. Let's see what else we got here. So yeah, not a lot of UFO news. Oh yeah, that I've got to show you that. Okay. This is something completely different. But this brings back memories. Anyone remember Concorde? Okay. The great British invention that sadly went into disband in 2004, I believe. And this is, I think there's a guy filming it, taking off for one last time, I believe. Listen to this, okay? Got to turn this up. It's so flipping loud. Hang on, I'll turn that down. And I can turn that up a little bit. Listen to this. Bear in mind, this was the fastest airplane in the world. This is created by the British. Concorde can't fly anymore because it obviously went out of business because it's just too expensive to basically run. But this, you can literally go from England to New York in about 4 hours. It's like literally more than half the time. That's how fast this plane went. But yeah, listen to this.
Oh, this is it. Excuse me.
Excuse
me.
Listen to that one more time. Listen to this.
Car's gone off.
I remember the last flight of that. I was in secondary school, and I think they took it off from Filton near me, and the fucking noise it made as it flew by was absolutely incredible. And that was the last flight. Yeah, flew over Bristol back in late 80s. All right. Yeah, it was a very, very rare aircraft that flew, but I had at least the last opportunity to see the last flight of it, which was 2003, 4, something like that. Yeah, go back a long time. Yeah, it was the last flight, but I'd never forget. It flew low as well over Bristol, and fuck the noise it made. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely amazing. So I thought I'd show you that. But anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to what have we got here? What have we got? 2 seconds, guys. Let's go back. Burrell. Concord. Okay. Tell you what. Let's. Whoa, that's way too loud. Let's do a bit of ghosts. Go on then. I do apologize, guys. Hang on 2 seconds. Got that up. There we go. Okay. This brings back memories. World's most scariest ghosts caught on tape. Guaranteed to get a copyright strike for this, but sod it. Let's have a bit of fun. This came out in the year 2000. And it has some really creepy stuff.
Several months investigating the mysterious sounds coming from the attic. It's a decision they will soon live to regret.
I feel a little queasy about going up there, but then I guess I'll go up. If I got a partner, why? It's so bad.
If I'm telling whatever it is, it doesn't want us here, it doesn't want you here, it doesn't want me.
I don't want to be rude. Okay. Don't want to be rude. Can I go back a bit? She kind of looks like Reagan from The Exorcist, but in the possessed state. No offense.
Whatever it is, it doesn't want us here, it doesn't want you here, it doesn't want me here. Let's just get out of here.
Suddenly, they hear a strange noise coming from above.
There were 3 snapping sounds, and they were clear as bell. And they were in my left ear, and they went like this.
The men claim at that moment they were attacked.
What's wrong? What happened? I told you, get down! Get down! This isn't a good idea. This isn't a good idea. We gotta get out of here.
Yeah, please get down. I got to get out of here.
Well,
It's definitely raising him.
Jeff, please come here. Get this for me.
Keep the mic on. Keep the mic on.
Jeff, here you go, buddy. Here you go. Here you go. What the hell happened? Are you okay, buddy? God, look at his neck. Jeff, what's behind your neck?
I don't know what's on my neck.
Look at his neck. He threw. Gary, get down out of there.
At first, I saw the look of terror on his face. I mean, it was just he was just terrified. His glasses were gone, and then we saw something like a cord that was around his neck.
It ended up over my head like this, and then it was twisted like this. I don't know how far or to what degree, but I know it was twisted because it was tied around my neck.
I think the ghost got offended by your moustache, mate. Typical bloody 90s, isn't it? I got some crazy footage on here. I remember watching this back in the day on, it was Bravo TV. There you go. How about this one here?
To shoot this music video, they never expected to make contact with the other side. The crew spends an entire day shooting in the deserted mining town of Glen Davis. The weather is stormy, and the mood in this remote location is unsettling.
It was actually freezing cold. The whole place felt very eerie. It actually felt like a ghost town.
Later, when this film is processed, it exposes a startling image. There appears to be a mysterious figure of a man standing in the background amid the concrete ruins.
There was no face on the figure, and the face was slightly disjointed from the body.
Everyone who was there that day insists the figure isn't human.
No, no.
When I shot it, there was no one there. I had people beside me looking the same way that I was looking. No one was there. Totally unexplained.
I mean, besides the crew, there was nobody, for kilometres around the place. There was just nobody anywhere.
Some believe that this ghostly apparition is the spirit of a miner lost years ago in a terrible disaster.
There were numerous accidents in the mine where men were killed. There were men that had their heads severed there. There were a number of men who drowned. One particular body was found not far from the site of where the ghost appeared.
But there is one more possible explanation. Intrigued, the men decide to investigate the deserted house with their own cameras. This is the actual videotape from that unforgettable night.
The storm was going, lightning crashing.
Lightning like I've never seen. It was like dripping plastic out of the
Intense,
sky.
isn't it?
Really strange.
And up on the trees there was this big 2-story old brick mansion, abandoned, kind of dilapidated looking.
Unaware of what awaits them, Guy and Terry go inside.
Everything throwing shadows through the house, so it was pretty eerie. And basically, we took a series of pictures all through the house, upstairs, downstairs, stairwells.
Terry claims that he then ventured back outside to take more photos.
I took a series of 3 pictures of an upstairs window. And after I took that series of pictures, I went around to the back of the home and I took a picture of a doorway.
Still in the house, Guy continues his investigation. But suddenly, he feels that he is no longer alone.
I felt this presence come over me, and the smell was like sulfur and roses. Real strong smell.
Hear that? Heartbeat.
Honk, 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 honk. And this heartbeat was in my head, but it wasn't my own heartbeat. I really felt like I was dying. This feeling of anxiety was just overwhelming. And I was afraid I wasn't going to make it out of there.
Guy and Terry run from the house, afraid to stop until they reach the safety of their van. But this ghost story is far from over. When Terry develops the film from his still camera, he's shocked by what he sees. 3 consecutive pictures of what appears to be a woman glowing in a pink light, floating in the 2nd-story window. Another pink shape is captured at the back door.
Pretty much, it blew me away, I have to say. I've never seen anything like that on film.
Could this be the ghost of Greencastle, or merely a photographic abnormality? To find out, Guy and Terry showed the pictures to their friend, photo expert Mick Orman.
What is in the picture?
This Guy and Gary literally getting it on. Literally, the throbbing sensation was literally the cock in his hand. I'm pretty sure.
Came from the negatives. It's very interesting and a little unnerving.
Next, these mysterious images were analysed by a computer graphics expert, Sean Dempsey. It's during Sean's high-tech examination that the photograph reveals another startling secret.
And then I tried something called bas relief, which basically takes the light and dark parts of the picture and emphasizes them. And I got the creepiest thing from this one photo. Her face, and I don't know how else to describe it, but that to me just looks like a skull. I've got to be honest. It's either a real photo of a ghost or it was done with a photographic technique that I don't know about.
With experts at a loss for answers, Guy and Terry have their own theory. They now believe they've photographed a real ghost. But if it's true, then whose spirit is it? Guy believes that the Pink Lady is a woman who lived and died here in the early 20th century. Her name, Irene O'Hare, the same name that they found scratched onto one of the bedroom walls.
Crypto, thanks for being here, bruv. Yeah, I'll catch you next time. I'll check your channel out as well. Getting ready for my own stream. Oh, that's cool, man. That's awesome. Yeah, thanks for being here, bruv. And I'll catch you soon. And thanks for all the advice and everything on new information on Eric Hecker. I'll go check it out. And yeah, have a good weekend, mate. I'll catch you soon. All right.
Guy and Terry make more trips to the mansion, but the ghost of Greencastle does not reappear. However, the men capture 2 other images that are just as difficult to explain. The first is this photograph of what appears to be a woman in a flowing gown. Due to her intense colour, she is known as the Gold Ghost. The second strange event occurs while Guy takes pictures of the mansion. Suddenly, 3 cloud-like shapes fly by. Is this merely fog or some type of mist? If so, it would need a strong breeze to travel this fast. But Guy's clothes and hair never move, indicating that no wind is blowing.
I'll finish the clip. It says it.
Unfortunately, these and other questions may never be answered, because the mansion was destroyed to make way for this cornfield. But the memories...
All right, that'll do. Enough cornhole in for one day. Yeah, so Gary and his mate clearly getting on, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's called world's most scariest ghost caught on tape. I remember seeing that back in like 2007, 8, 9. I thought be a trip down memory lane, so to speak. So continuing our journey, this is the last little bit, guys, on paranormal stuff. This is the latest updates on the Facebook page called Paranormal Sightings. Okay, so let's just go through this, and we'll end up sharp here. So this ghostly apparition captured at Plaz Tags Kegs haunted resident. Oh, thanks, screwed that up anyway. But yeah, we have this strange looking blob of whiteness. Kind of looks like a face, doesn't it? You know. Again, pareidolia. What mention that? Obviously, we're trying to make out stuff that probably isn't actually there, but our eyes are attuned to saying, "Oh, actually, that looks like a skull." But nevertheless, it's still a bit freaky. Jonas shares, last year my sister's friend and I stayed at an old house for the weekend and captured some eerie photos on my phone, especially of the door. What do you see? If you zoom in here, as you can see, we have a bunch of what you call wine women, probably divorced, no offense. And you can see this very faint apparition right here. I'm sure they're lovely people. I'm sure they're lovely, but yeah. The glass of wine on the table there and a cup of tea. Okay, fair enough. So yeah, as you can see, we have an apparition that you could say you got a bit of head here and you got a bit of a body there, isn't it? But the picture isn't too clear. It's a bit pixelated. If I go back a bit, does it make any difference? No, it don't. Enjoy your wine, girls. This one here, this image was taken on a surveillance camera at a Amarillo Zoo in Texas on May the 21st, 2022. And you can see a bloody face looking at you, mate. It could be a person, not a debunker, just saying. Could possibly be a person peeping through, innit? Right, moving on. This is a good one. My mum took this photo with her phone camera, and my daughter is the only one in the right. There is absolutely no one else when she took the photo. Yet somehow another figure appears beside her. What's even stranger is the difference in their feet. Why do they look so different? We have no explanation for this. Go back from here. So this is original photograph. Again, once we start zooming in, we are losing the contrast. We are losing the pixels. But this is the better zoomed in photo. So the one on the right here, that's the daughter. And then the one on the left is obviously the apparition. Bear in mind, I'm not being a debunker, but I think a possibility that people post these photographs on here just to see how many likes they can get, when in fact they're actually just two kids here just playing. You know, got to take that consideration as well. If you look at the hair and the contrast of the body, you don't see any grass through this ghost apparition. If it was a ghost apparition, it's hard to tell, isn't it? However, if we have a look at the shadow, so this is the original one. So obviously we've got the shadow here, and if there was another person as well, they'll obviously to the side, it will obviously have another shadow here. So that's little things you need to take in consideration. Yeah, only one shadow. Yeah, this is it. So nevertheless, it's stuff like that. You got to go, well, actually, you can't say that's another person there because it will cast another shadow. So yeah, good. That's a good photograph. So This one is a little bit morbid, but I thought it was worth showing anyway. In 1984, a 16-year-old boy died in a car accident. This is what the detective found when he received the photos. The spirit of the boy was clearly seen at the place of the incident. His face twisted in a scream, as if he's trapped in the moment of his death. Okay, I'm not. I haven't put the photo of obviously the dead body because I'm not that bloody morbid. But nevertheless, you have this. Okay, let me just show you the original photograph, which is here. Okay. So we've got the car here, and we have this. Right. Oh, let me go back a little bit. No, okay. I haven't got a clearer shot. Just a couple of things, okay? What's happened here is that there's most probably a slow shutter speed. And even my mum, I know she's in chat, you got a lot of experience with photographs. If you've got a slow shutter speed and you have a light source, and you just slightly move the camera with your hand, you will get this effect. Okay. Excuse me. This is obviously a very clear light effect. I've seen so many times on this slow motion photo capture, long exposure. Yeah, that's it. That's the word. It's basically long exposure. So if you are going to take a photograph in this manner, you need to put it on a tripod. Okay, and you just got to leave it there and do things to the camera so you're not making any movements. But I know from my experience, guys, through countless ghost hunting, is that the fact that if you got long exposure, you will get that effect. Okay, you will get this effect. But this is what you need to look at. Okay, this is a bit creepy because if I go in, it bloody looks like a face, doesn't it? And what the strangest thing is, that's the person. That is flipping scary, okay? Because it does look like he's caught in that moment. I think I personally myself, I think that's one great photographs taken back in the day. Bear in mind, this is 1986, and obviously back in the day we had the film developed cameras. So I think that's pretty bloody good, to be honest with you. I just hope he's not in pain in that bloody photograph. Obviously, he died in a car crash, and I hope it was bloody instant because you don't want to be lingering around. You know what I mean? You just want to be quick and over with. But the fact in the description saying that it looks like this person is caught in the moment of agony, so to speak. But if you look at his picture, that's the actual picture of him who died, and that's the alleged spirit. It's crazy, isn't it, man? But I thought I'll show you that because that's quite compelling, isn't it? Let's just go back and have a look at obviously that's the face there. He's obviously in the he's crouched over in the car there. But yeah, that's crazy. That's a crazy photograph, isn't it? So I thought I'd show you that, and yeah, that's it. One last thing. My mum sent me this. This was really interesting. First time ever I'm bringing up Facebook. Yeah, Facebook. Not really, no. Right, this was taken from Space Shuttle Discovery in 1991. STS-48 missions, wherever that is, banned classified video, so to speak. But I have never seen this. Check this out. We've got...
Discovery also moving into sunrise.
What the hell? That's sperms.
As it moves into sunrise, again above Russia, Afghanistan, and India.
Space debris? What do you reckon about that? I don't know. It looks like it's someone traveling. It appears out of nowhere, doesn't it? Tic-tac-toe. War games, most probably, mate. Yeah. It's interesting. I've never seen anything like that. There's a big cluster of unidentified flying objects, UFOs. Doesn't mean necessarily means there's a spacecraft or anything like that. But yeah, I thought I'll show you that. But yeah, thanks, man, for showing me that. That's yeah, something that's always new, as it's more or less old as well. Let me just check for my notes. I think that's pretty much it. I tell you what, let's do one more thing just to go through, as we can just finish up on X. We've got some strange videos to show you. So strange noises obviously is a very common occurrence here in Bristol, known as the Bristol hum. But if you listen to this, it kind of sounds like an aircraft. Actually, no, don't. Can you hear that a bit better? Okay, listen very carefully. Okay, you could kind of hear near the middle an aircraft in the background. Listen. Yeah, if you can't hear it, you need headphones for that one. But you do have this initial whining pitch noise that seems to be piercing the skyline. However, you do hear this other aircraft as well, almost like this deep roar that you typically would get with an aircraft flying at a certain altitude, especially overhead. Regardless, this whiny noise sounds like one of those, like a pure electric car. One of our residents here, he's got a pure electric car. God, I hope the day that it doesn't bloody explode, because yeah, good luck on that one. It sounds like this when it's driving. Yeah, not sure on that one, guys. Not too sure. High pitched sound, definitely. Yeah, sounds like a U2 plane. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I thought U2 plane sounded like a deep roar. I don't know. It depends on the altitude, isn't it? It's kind of hard to tell, but it sounds like it's coming from the sky, according to the guy in the description here. I mean, this is UFO Mania, so they do post a bit of like 50-50 stuff. But the whining noise, even like the sounds in the sky as well, that's very prominent. You can hear that pretty much. Don't hear it as much now, but it was very prominent back in 2010. But yeah, U2 plane, possibility, mate, possibility. John P. Adventures, how's it going, man? How's it going? Thanks for tuning in with Hidden Underbelly. It's good to see you there, bruv. It really is. Always good to see you, man. Really do appreciate you being here. Thank you. Right, let's have a little look. What else we got on Twitter? Okay, Janine, UFO Research, I think produced, no offense, Hidden, I love you, buddy, but Janine really produced some incredible stuff. And I think she's just uploaded a video of compilations of UFOs. Yeah, like really good stuff. Really, really good stuff.
Okay, what in the hell is that?
One would say Malar balloon. Oh no, look at it.
Whoa, what in the fuck?
There it is.
Huh.
It's about that time.
Do you see that? Hold on, go back. Look. It stops.
Whoa, what in the fuck?
There it is. It's about the time for them to come through.
Magnolia tree. That's
Same
nice.
direction. Every single day.
Huh.
Same direction. And people talk about drones.
Hey. That's interesting, isn't it? We've got some tic-tacky motherships. Some people would say it's a Malar balloon. Sure, I know they're in black as well. Nick, you seen the Chilean wave of cigar crafts? No, I haven't, mate. Let me just I'll write that down. I'll put that on for next episode. Chilean. Might have done, mate. A lot of these names I'm not familiar with, but when I see the sightings, I'm like, oh yeah, that rings a bell. Obviously, these got names for it. Craft. Let's have a look. Fantastic. Right, let's have a little look. But yeah, go check out Janid UFO Research on YouTube as well. Fantastic channel. Oh, this was taken in Kansas, 2019. Okay. Got the full video there. Yeah, this was taken of an unidentified flying object. This is Melissa Johnson, the first streaker at Wimbledon Stadium at the men's finals tennis match in 1996. I applaud you, darling. Right, that's enough of that. I'll probably get. Hopefully, the algorithm don't catch me on that one. Oh, not that one. Woo. Okay, skip that. Some more German flying saucers. Misinformation, I guess. I don't want to go into it now. We will save that for next time. Yeah, we'll save that all for next time as well. One last thing I noticed is this started to pop up recently. Now, remember a few live streams ago, I was talking about the Norway spiral that was floating around in the sky. It was did like spiral effect, and people say, "Oh, that was to do with bloody hell, the rocket that went sideways and it started turning like that, which gave us effect." Now, I showed a rocket actually doing that, and it looked nothing like the Norway spiral. However, if you look really carefully at this is the third sighting it's been during last week. Check this out. Couldn't say as a cloud. Kind of looks like it, but yeah. Did you see that? There was a light above it. That's weird. That's kind of weird because near the end, it kind of looks like a meteorite, doesn't it, going through orbit? But if you have a look really closely, even the guy says that, and you can clearly see it. There's a light surrounding it. Yeah. See it? That's interesting, isn't it? All right. Yeah, a tricky one, isn't it? It really is a tricky one. It's silent. It's like the cloud disintegrate. Oh my god, retard. Disintegrate. Sorry, disappear. There it goes. I don't know if you've seen. This is not the explanation for it, but if you had like a cloudy day, and you see the sunlight popping through the clouds, it can give off this effect. But this looks like there's clear sky, to be honest with you. But yeah, that's another strange thing that happened in Florida. That is a daily bizarre phenomena that continues to happen. It's very, very strange. Strange stuff indeed. Right, I think that is it, my all lovers. That is it for rocket test. Possibility, mate. Possibility. Yeah, I mean, rocket propulsion systems does give off smoke, so you got to take that in consideration as well. Couldn't hear anything. Not too sure if that sort of altitude you'd be able to hear the rocket. Not too sure. But yeah, it's interesting nevertheless. So yeah, that is it, guys. I'm just going to check my notes for one more time. I think that is it. Yeah, paranormal stuff. TikTok can go fuck itself. I'm not doing TikTok now. So that my brain cannot compel the shite that's on there. Honestly, guys, I've really struggled with like human beings in the past month. I don't know what the hell is going on with like a certain demographic. Obviously, talking about the hard left here, like far left. Man, these people need to get a bloody life. Honestly, it's so sad, so pathetic to see just the disintegration of human civilization. I'm just trying to find hope, the will to actually be positive and say things will work out eventually. But at the moment, we're at such a crazy time, man. I don't want to be like fear mongering. TikTok is for mash heads. If you want to lose brain cells, absolutely. So yeah, it's I try to stay positive. Now I'm in that mindset. I mean, last year was pretty bad for me, but now 2025, I've really started to work out every day, really like train hard, really focus on different stuff. And even though it's going to be very challenging, and touch wood, I'm lucky to be in a situation that I'm in. Being in the situation that I am at the moment, I'm actually very fortunate, very lucky. But for the rest of people out there, I kind of really feel sorry for, struggling to put food on the table, to pay rent and stuff like that. But yeah, you got to stay positive. You really do. It's an ever-changing world. It's scary. I'm going to be honest, it is scary at the moment. I thought things will work out when Trump got into office, but it just seems to be going more tits up. But it will work itself out. But we're all in this together, guys. We're all in this together. And staying positive is the main thing, because whatever you put into the universe is going to give back to you. So if you be negative, the universe is going to give you negative people. So you are right, Pop. You got to stay positive in this world. And me staying positive a bit more has actually helped. It helps with your mental health and well-being. So yeah, that's it, guys. Rotary, cool show, Nick. Brilliant, big time show, my dude. Thank you, means a lot to me, and I think a lot here. I think, oh my god, mate, honestly, I'm at that stage now. I'm like really tired. It really does. Honestly, guys, to everyone in chat, it really means a lot to me. Again, it's still new, trying to get things figured out. And with the Bell project, there was like so much stuff I'm trying to put into order. I've got to get the photographs. There's a lot of information to put in. It's all up here, but and obviously in the books as well. So it just takes time to sort of do one thing, look at the chat and everything. But honestly, your presence here, everybody, it means so much to me. It really does. You've been so kind, and it's only going to get better from here eventually. Not too sure about the reading and the pronunciation of words, but practice makes perfect. So let's go for the chat one more time. Sheep Pop, thanks so much. S Hammer, Rotary Motion, Jumpy Adventures. Well, so we've got John Strokes, and I think that is it for the moment. And anyone else in chat I haven't said doesn't mean I don't love you. It just means that we've got to end the show. So yeah. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, as always. But if you like the show, please like and subscribe. It'd be much appreciated. And yeah, thanks, S Hammer. I do appreciate it, mate. And I do believe Ollie says they want to get me back on the Daily Conspiracy podcast, which means I have to break out into my let's just say the childhood or the teenage antics or something like that. Basically, I've got to talk about dick a lot and all that, which I can do. So along Dave's there to help me through, I'll be fine. So I'll be popping on at some point. And the boys will be back on the show as well, just sort of pop in and just to say hello and all that. And pretty sure we'll talk about a load of dick stuff like they do on the Daily Conspiracy podcast. But as we're going to be finishing up, just to say one more shout out to the Daily Conspiracy podcast. On Spotify and Apple, go check them out, guys. They definitely deserve the praises. So if you like the show, please like and subscribe. It'd be much appreciated. It'll help the show out and help me out as well. And be back next week with another show. I'm not too sure what I'm going to be doing. I'll do a bit more technical detail into the Die Glocke or the Bell project. but I quite like to do crop circles. I've got quite a number of information on books here on crop circles, so I may do that, or anything current, up-to-date stuff I will be talking about. But honestly, when it comes to UFO stuff, not a lot that came in this week anyway. So yeah, dick jokes are a must. I know, mate. I know. There wasn't a lot of dick jokes last time. It's because Dave's the one that triggers it, and then Lee follows it, and then Lee and Dave just take the piss out of Ollie, you know. I know it's good humor. I spoke to Ollie. He said it's all good humor and all that. But yeah, dick jokes is definitely a must. So yeah, please like and subscribe, guys. It'd be much appreciated. And I'll be back next Friday with another live show. And yeah, that's it. So remember, until next time, they're watching you, watching us, watching them. I'll see you next week. All the best. Yes, I'm fully aware of Ollie's obsession with chickens and nipples. I don't know, man. All I know, I eat a lot of chicken, so chicken breast is definitely on the agenda, but I don't see any nipples. But my God, it makes you think, do chickens have nipples? But Ollie's making good points. He's making really good points. So yeah, go check him out, guys. A Daily Conspiracy podcast on Spotify. S Hammer, thanks for the nipple reminder, mate. See you all next week.